We're gonna start. So, hi everyone, and I'm gonna start by basically, just going over a few stocks that we have. So, before introducing Ken to us, just like a few stocks that basically during the last weeks we're all looking at. So there is that one, the Tesla, that is really like still going up as maybe a bit unexpected, but it's still like going really, really high, 7% today, which is really good. There is the mRNA, the company that found the vaccine, still going up as well, and even after the market closed today. So I didn't expect that as well. I thought that it would be the end after the event, but still, it's still on the rise, which is really great. Other than that, for cryptocurrencies, there is the Bitcoin that is like really close to the highest it has ever been. So if it breaks that, we might expect it to actually go even higher. Finally, there is Air Canada still on the rise. So really like a big jump from Air Canada that is really, really great. So just a little overview about it. So now for this meeting, there is Ken with us, and basically he's going to talk to us about his company, and he's looking for investors. So it's really an investment opportunity for us. So Ken, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us more about your company.
Yeah, sure. Well, name's Ken, and I've been pretty much an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. I was telling Bryce that, yeah, my first company was a DJ company back when I was in grade 8, doing the school dances and such. And then we've moved into weddings. I was a DJ at a club for many years. Then I got into the web back in 98. It was fairly new, the internet thing back then, and I saw the opportunity. I thought, let me get into this. I was a programmer at the time, and have since grown that and have a hosting company, a web development company, a digital strategist by day, and entrepreneur every other time at nighttime. And this idea that I'm going to share with you today was something that I had back 12 years ago, before the pandemic, and I just didn't act on it. And I thought now is the time, especially given the whole pandemic, and you'll see what I mean. So I guess I'll start sharing my screen and we can talk about it. Any questions so far about what I've already mentioned about who I am? Anything else you need to know, want to know? All right. Yeah.
So
Shy.
if you guys have questions during the presentation, you can write them in the chat or uh, for the end.
So you should be able to see my screen now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Awesome. So the idea that I'm going to share with you is called urbancart.ca. And originally it was called Caribbean Grocer, or actually Jamaican Grocer was the first name. I'm a Black Canadian. That's how I identify myself. I'm actually of a mixed heritage, Native, Black, and British. And when I had this idea, my kids were very small. My kids are Jamaican and Canadian. And so we were buying our groceries from Grocery Gateway, back when it first started as the only online shopping store for groceries. And I thought, well, this needs to be in our community, because we, I was in Maple at the time, and we only had one little store. And I thought if they could just deliver the products, raising 3 kids was, was a handful. So, but we couldn't get our groceries delivered, or at least not our ethnic groceries. So this idea was born back then. I've recently jumped back on it, now that I have resources and the time and the energy and a team behind me to get it going. And so the concept is very similar to what you might see as Uber Eats. And I'm just looking for my present. Here we go. And so what I'm going to talk about basically for today is really all of the concept, the why it got started, or why now, why I decided to pick it back up. It was February is when I started. Our global mission, kind of where the idea has grown from and to. Then obviously we're going to get into the fun stuff, which is why everybody's here, the money. And I'm not sure how sophisticated you all are as far as investing goes, but you all seem fairly sophisticated. So my convertible notes slide might be very basic for you. I originally pitched this to family and friends, and a few have come on board with some dollars. And now I'm actually pitching it I was asked to pitch it here, and I thought, yeah, why not? The more the merrier. Basically, I believe that this could be very big for everybody and help the community at large. Talk about the revenue risks, the investment terms, and then any questions that we have at the end. And so why? Um, as we know, in our community, especially in the GTA, various communities, ethnic and Black communities, food insecurity is a real thing. In fact, I just recently got wind of a young lady who has an autistic son and is having a bit of a challenge. And I thought, you know what, we need to help this lady. And so I'm actually utilizing the proceeds of my own income to and actually sticking true to our vision, which is to help our community and helping her out. Economic empowerment. If you've been following any of the news, we know that we're the first ones to get fired, the last ones to get hired, and our incomes are typically not at par with the other races in Canada and around the globe typically. Large grocery chains are growing. Local grocers are shrinking. Many have closed their doors. I just heard today that a young lady within our community is closing her fitness shop, and it's just painful to see that it's our community that's being impacted the most. In fact, statistically, I think we've had like 42% of our businesses closed down, and other groups have only had like 17%. So a very big disparity there. As you know, more with all the lockdowns, 25% more shoppers are moved online. Pandemic has closed many businesses for good. And then, of course, underrepresentation in the major chain stores. Now, there has been improvements since the original idea back 12 years ago, but still, there are certain things you still can't get, especially if you are someone of a diverse culture. And so I believe this is an answer because we do have lots of merchants that offer the unique things or the special things in either the African culture or the Caribbean culture, Asian, that you wouldn't necessarily get in like a Longo's or a Metro and so on. And then, of course, customers are now, with the pandemic, finding shopping online convenient and safe. And here's a quote from Weber, I guess is how they pronounce their domain. And basically, since this pandemic, mid-April, Instacart, one of our competitors, I guess, one of the main players in the grocery space, has seen an increase of more than 400% in online shopping. Obviously, you got the Amazons, the Uber Eats, and so on. So our concept is very similar, same-day online shopping and delivery service that connects local merchants with their online diaspora and larger online market. We like to say that we are a technology, advertising, and logistics partner to merchants. And the key word there is partner. We find that, especially in our community, the adoption of technology within our stores is a little bit slower than what we would find in, let's say, the larger chains. One, because of economics. Two, because it's education. And so we feel that if we can offer a simple platform that is by us, for us, there would be a sense of trust there, as well as the ability to help them streamline their operations, achieve economies of scale. Hopefully, one of our visions is that we will be able to pool all the merchants together and increase our buying power, such as the large chains have. And then, of course, expand the market reach. So if we can help these small merchants become multi-chain or larger stores, such like the Oceans of the world or the Costcos of the world, then they would be able to buffer these storms that we face as these pandemics happen or these downturns in the economy. Everybody okay with the pace that I'm going at so far?
Yeah, that's good, I think. So
Okay.
just to make sure there is 30 minutes. So the meeting is 30 minutes in total.
Yeah, I've only
Yeah.
got 100 slides, so we should be able to get to those. No, just kidding. So why merchants like us? Obviously, we value fairness, quality, and service. I already mentioned the buying power for suppliers. That's one of our main goals, is to help them. We've actually connected with urban farmers as well, which is another movement that we're hoping to help get their products into the merchants, thus again improving the whole supply chain. No credit card fees and no surprises. Basically, because we're handling all of the transactions, there's no credit card fees for the merchant themselves. We actually, through our commission structure, which you'll see in the next slide, is how we buffer that, and it's also where we make our revenues. Currently, Uber Eats is 30% commission. Actually, it's been dropped because of all the pressure received from the local merchants. Skip the Dishes was 25%. I think they're now down to 10%, and in some cases offering it for free, especially as they jump on the whole, support Buy Black movement. But I believe that we have an edge in that a lot of our merchants will trust us more than they'll trust, the others out there. The disadvantage, obviously, is they're much bigger and they've been around much longer. But our mission, again, as I mentioned, support local merchants, provide a single online source for all things BIPOC or BIPOC, or however you pronounce it. I always say BIPOC, others pronounce it BIPOC, but it's Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So our businesses, basically. Keep our dollars in our communities, again, helping the unemployment, as well as helping individuals like this young lady who is facing some challenges right now, a single mom. And then, of course, to be eco and social friendly. We want to be an inclusive business as well as one that's friendly to the environment, hence why we're connecting with urban farmers who do everything organically. So we have good food coming into our stores and good food coming into our bodies. Local impact. This is some of our vision and our goals and dreams. Entrepreneur scholarships, charity partnerships such as Food Share. We already have partnerships with a foster care center over in Liberia, as well as 29 Roots, which is a up and coming youth employment agency. And 29 Roots really speaks to the 29 I guess this is known to those that have been in the various communities. But there are basically 29 communities that are what we would call the youth at risk know about, those that maybe are on the other side of the prosperity fence. And so these communities are, not designated by the city, but ones that have been self-identified. And so this organization has very good ties with these communities, with the youth in those communities. So we hope to help those people become gainfully employed or become entrepreneurs. And then the other things, they're farming, obviously, job creation, and then helping the homeless. So show me the money. And we're going to talk about all the profits, risks, and where the rubber meets the road, and what is the potential of this opportunity. I think in our chat on the WhatsApp group, there was some conversation around DoorDash going IPO, and I think they're currently valued at something like 16 billion, if I remember the number correctly. But they've only been around for, I think, 6 years. But yeah, there's huge potential or uptick. But let's talk about it. So just before I go into this whole slide, does everyone understand what a convertible note is?
Maybe if you can explain it
Explain it.
briefly.
Okay. So real briefly, as per the slide, a convertible note is essentially an IOU, which has a maturity date and an interest rate attached to it, which will when we go out and get a large funder or sell the company, that convertible note will actually convert into equity within the company. And thus you're able to buy the shares that somebody coming on later would buy at a discount. And we'll talk about how that all shapes up. And typically there would be a valuation cap so that your early investment gains a better return than those that come on later on. So because the company doesn't have any revenues at this point, because we haven't launched yet, we're actually supposed to launch this week. And I'm expecting an update tomorrow from the team. It's hard to say how much, your investment would equal in terms of shares. So what we do is we say, okay, let's do a hypothetical evaluation. And we did typical valuation on the market size and what the potential upside is on the market that we're after within the next 12 months. And we figure it's about 1.2 million. So that would be your valuation cap as kind of where we would set the cap. But let's say a year from now, and I'll look at the next slide. If a year from now, the company is actually valued right down here, where it says value of the business is 2 million, then whatever your ownership is, or whatever your note was, whatever money you put in, would be capped at 1.2 million in terms of your buy value, but it would actually be worth at $2 million. So let's say, for example, again, let's say you take $10,000 and the interest note is 10%. Over 12 months will give you $1,000 return on your investment. I think that's right. Yeah, total interest. Oh, so your total interest amount would be $10,000. The discount that we're offering on the convertible note is 20%. So as I mentioned, later on, when it actually has a real valuation, you would be able to buy shares at 20% less than what somebody coming on later would be able to buy them at. And so the 10% plus your 20% gives you your 30% total RRI percentage, which will give you $13,000 at the end of 12 months. Now, where it really becomes powerful is, again, in the conversion. So that's only if you take your 30% and run. You don't convert it into stocks within the company. So if a year from now, the company is valued at $2 million, because your money is being evaluated at 1.2 million, your percentage ownership would be 1.08%. And so based on that, your ROI is really $21,000 or $22,000 or 217%, because you're buying shares at a lower rate than what the company is actually valued at. And what really gets exciting with this is, so if you were to actually multiply that out, and let's say the company gets valued at $5 million, and you can just go through the numbers again, you would still own 1% or 1.8% of the company. So that means that you would now have 1.8% of 5 million versus 2 million. So it all depends on how successful we are down the road. And of course, as it continues to grow, each valuation, your ROI increases. And I think it worked out to something like 500% return at $5 million. Again, keeping the $10,000 as your initial investment. So potentially, I wouldn't say the sky's the limit, but ultimately it's up to us to how to make this thing successful. So how achievable is $1.2 million? Well, let's take a look at that. So right now, let's say, for example, so I'm going to just summarize it this way. So 0.02% penetration in the Ontario market alone, not Canada, Ontario, would equal about $337,000 in profit. And the way we've broken down our revenue streams is as such. We have merchant transactions, we have advertising fees, customer memberships, a delivery fee, which we don't take, but we could if we wanted to. So you can see that there's nothing showing there. And then a platform fee. So that 8% is actually the merchant transaction percentage up here. So this is where for every transaction that takes place on our platform, we take 8%. And then there's a $3 charge to the customer. So the merchant would pay the 8% because we're handling all the transactions, and the customer would pay the $3 and a delivery fee, whatever that happens to be. We don't take anything from the delivery, although we could. If somebody wanted to advertise on our platform, actually that should be 10, not 0. At 350 gives us our 42,000. So that's, at 0.2% or 0.02% of penetration in Ontario. What does it look like so our expenses are listed here, about $30,000 for a startup. It's already paid. And then our ongoing is about $8,000 operating costs. But here's where it gets interesting. Let's say we get to 10,000 customers. which is 0.18% of market penetration across Canada this time. Now we're talking about, and that's $2 million. And the size of the market itself is 1.8 or 118 billion dollars. And at 5% market penetration, we're talking about 590 million. And at 0.1% of the market is 11 million. And we're only asking, or we're only seeking 0.18% of the Canada's market, or of Ontario's market, rather, sorry, which gives us $2 million. And of course, it goes up from there. And this is only on the grocery side of things. So if we now start getting into apparel, candles, and other types of products that our community will use, then you can understand how this could really grow quickly. Any questions on the numbers before I move on? Because I know that's kind of...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go back to the previous slide, it looks like there is some registration fees, right? So for a business to register, it costs
No,
1,000.
Yeah, this is our business registration. So to register our corporation, so we are incorporated and we're registered already.
Mhm.
So these were kind of our startup costs.
Okay.
So these are our expenses. So this is our startup and operating costs. So it cost me about $30,000 to get to where we are today. Which is, we have a platform, we have a mobile app, and we have for both iOS and for Android. And then these will be our ongoing costs, which eat into our profits, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're launching everything this week, right?
The goal is to launch this week, but I think we may be behind a few days. I will know a lot more tomorrow, because our launch date was planned for Wednesday, but I'm just getting my last update tomorrow. So I suspect there will most likely be changes, so we won't be able to fully launch tomorrow, or sorry, Wednesday. But yeah, we're very close to launching.
Okay. Is there some business working with you already?
Yes. Great question. So basically, we have so far, if I can just find, actually, there it is. I'm just going to switch screens real quick. So we've done some kind of preliminary surveying of the marketplace and stuff. We've had 31 responses over the last little bit. And so we've already got, these are customers, but we also have merchants that have come on board. I think about 7 of them have come on board. The biggest thing we're running into is, again, when we originally pitched this, our dollars were at 20%. We thought that, being 10% less than Uber would be good. But I think, as we heard in the news, there was a lot of pushback from the merchants that were really hurting. So we had to readjust that. So the grocery stores were hurting a lot more than all the new startups that are cooking from home and so on. So yeah, we have 7. We have an African store that has come on board. We have a couple of chefs that have come on board. So they're cooking from home. So the restaurant type businesses, I call them home-based restaurateurs. And so we have 7 in total that are ready to jump on board with this. A couple Africans, and then Caribbean, and one who does sorrel, and one who does baked goods. So, and we're still onboarding as well. I think once they are able to see the platform, which I'm hoping will be this week or next week, the latest, it'll become more real to them. It's hard for them to kind of look at what we have and kind of envision where it's going, especially, again, not being tech savvy and so on.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it's at. Yeah.
There is a question from Monica, and actually it's a question like, just to know basically how much you would like to raise, how you would use that money, and is there like a minimum investment you would need from someone who would like to invest, right?
Great questions. I'll flip down to the go-to-market strategy. So we're looking to raise about $150,000 to take care of some of these activities, particularly onboarding and providing the various marketing that we will need to bring the investors, or rather the customers and merchants on board, as well as yeah, because what is it? Yeah, so mainly for the marketing aspect, and then to cover any shortages while we ramp up to 1,000 customers. Between 0 and 400 customers, we are at a loss operationally, but after that point, we are then in the red. So the goal is to be able to carry this from 0 to 400, and then from 400 to 1,000, where we begin to really make money and it begins to gain momentum.
Hmm.
So we think 3 months coverage would be able to get us to 400. We've pretty much at 100 right now as far as those interested in using our platform, and we'll see how many are become regular customers, because the goal will be to have every month. Statistically, people will shop between 2 to 4 times a month, spending anywhere from $100 to $300 at each shopping point. I've kept the numbers very, as you can see here, I only have it listed as 2 per month. So I try to keep the numbers very conservative, so that at least we know the model will work. And then after that, we can scale and incentivize to get more purchases and so on. I think there was another part. So, minimum investment. So there is no minimum. And the main reason I did that, or set it at no minimum, was because I understand that obviously these times are very tough for many people. And I didn't want to close the door for someone who sees the opportunity, but doesn't necessarily have, $10,000 to invest. Our first investor that came on board with $2,000, but they could have easily come on at 200 or $20. I honestly, for me, it's really about the more we are able to build this platform for us, I believe it could be long-term and sustaining, whereby we really take back our purchasing dollars and keep it within our community. And if those that see the vision early jump on and they benefit, I have no problems with that. For me, it's really about the revolution. I don't know if you did anyone visit the website?
I did, yeah. I went
Yeah,
on.
so you'll see, it's just really a splash page. It's not the actual website, so don't get scared that this is not going to be. So
Assume
urbancart.ca.
that
So, yeah,
once the platform is going to change, right?
yeah, exactly. So it'll look a lot more like the Uber Eats of the world and so on. But so my first thing here is welcome to the shopping revolution. And we really want to be hyper local. I'm trying to avoid shopping at the major chains, but I know that obviously our customers are going to want certain things from Costco and so on. So we'll do that at the beginning, but ultimately we are already looking at getting their suppliers, and we only got 1 minute left, so I don't want to take up all the time. But yeah, there's lots of potential there. So essentially, 5% interest on the note. All investments have the additional 20%. The term of the note's 12 months. And if you want to contact me later, that's perfectly fine. This is my contact information. You can also send an email if you have other questions, but that's where we are right now.
There is actually one question from Monica that you can answer. So, are the drivers self-employed?
The drivers will be similar to anyone that, we don't hire them. They are independent, just like they would be with Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, we have about 7 drivers, 2 in Brampton, 3 in Scarborough, 1 in Toronto, and 1 in Mississauga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Sophia is asking if for now it's only groceries, right?
No, so that's how we started, but it's really going to be restaurants. We have there's somebody I'm speaking to that does cupcakes, and someone who does candles and roses.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're opening this up to anyone, any entrepreneur, especially within our community, that wants
Mhm.
to utilize the platform to expand their market, reach more customers, and simplify their operations. We really see this platform as a um, kind of a tool to really help their operations, so that they don't have to
Mhm.
do all the order taking, the email transfers, and all of those other nitty gritties, the supply chain management. One idea that we have also is, as you're, delivering product to a customer, what if you needed something to supply your business with? You could easily call our driver. So while they're on their way to you to pick up, your finished product, let's say it's, your rice and peas dinner for somebody, you could actually have them, grab some rice on the way to your location, so it saves you a trip, and that also maximizes our time, and then they make more money in the
Okay.
process. So it's like an end-to-end platform to really help merchants thrive in this
Mhm.
environment.
Okay. And just to make sure, so anyone, any merchant can come, right? So it's not necessarily like filtered by community or something. It's really like anyone can actually join.
Correct. Yeah. We are
Mhm.
targeting our community, obviously, because I feel that that's where the most need is. But yeah, certainly anyone can join and jump on board. And we will
Mhm.
be using some of the major chains, at least at the beginning, until we were able to
Mhm.
complete our orders without their products.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, it
But if
looks
they
like
want to buy
Sophia
us,
likes
okay.
the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Sophia really likes the idea too. So,
Awesome.
do you have any social media where actually we can follow your business?
Yes, we are
Mhm.
on all the social platforms, Facebook. So actually, I probably should list that, but basically, it's either going to be Urban Cart on Instagram.
Mhm.
It's actually shop underscore Urban Cart underscore, sorry, shop underscore urban underscore cart
Mhm.
at Instagram, and then also on the other platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. It'll be
Mhm.
either shop Urban Cart or just Urban Cart. And I can certainly
Okay.
send that to the group. I can paste it into the group WhatsApp, and that'll be easy.
Yeah, please, if you can share it with the group, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I'll do that.
yeah, thank you very much for that, for the
No problem.
presentation.
Sorry, it took a few more minutes, and thank you
Oh,
everybody
that's
for
okay.
listening.
Yeah, if you guys have any question for Ken, just he is in the group, so you can like reach out to him directly. There is his number. I'm also gonna share your contact, or when you share your the links, basically, you can
Yeah,
contact them directly.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I guess if you want to know more about like what are the next steps, and if you want to invest in the opportunity,
Hmm.
I guess I'll be able to tell you everything. So it'd be great.
Excellent.
So yeah, thank you very much for that, and
Thank
thanks
you.
guys for joining.
And I
And
will.
yeah, have a great.
I think I can stop presenting. Take care,
Yeah.
everybody.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Bye.